Hi there. This is Xenon Reality doing my thing. So we're going to talk about quantum thermodynamics real quick, and how if a nothingness point force happens to exist, fields and other stuff is essentially just a net that is pushing down. As it's bound together, a piece happens to gain mass. You know, that kind of thing. Peace being a relative term, okay? It's not really a piece of something. There's no technically particle. We're not talking strings, though. It's more of an outward bound, inward bound combo is what my viewpoint would be, which is a weird way of putting an idea, a potential idea. So it's a potential, effectively. I call them potentials. Potential meaning this is information that happens to maybe be a possibility. Okay, which is all a phraseology to go along with whatever words they'll use, because they're garbage people that can't go along with whatever it is I'm saying, even though I'm right. But what that means is the net gains a divot, okay? But that net is not just any other net. It's attached to everything. But then the net isn't really a net. It's quantum fields, okay? Not to mention there's grab and there's resistive and there's pull, all of which transfer everything around. Creates waves that we happen to see as vacuum, quasi, or actual. And so that is a reflectivity of that pressure. Quantum thermodynamics here. So that reflectivity of pressure points, puts into a point, as it is a bowl that goes to a singular point. That point then creates a outward bound, because it bounces off of itself, pressure, but it's only outward. It doesn't have the inward to keep itself stuck, solid, which means that we only experience it in the context of information passing by or its interactions, acting as if it has mass. It doesn't have mass. It only looks like it has mass. Now, what this means is, if when you scale this up, because we're talking about that inward, outward bound pressure potential, okay? Because it went up, outward bound pressure be gone into the thing as it falls down, because we're talking about dimensions. Okay, so this is a potential underneath the neutral, which I was talking about earlier. As it goes up through the gray hole. The gray hole happens to pop it up. Pop it up, it spreads. Goes down many different dimensions until we get us. And it... The fuck? I don't get the spread anymore? There's no spread? Where's the spread? I thought I was going down. Hey! Got you covered, buddy. I'm your safety support network. That's basically what that is. Okay? They're like, why did this happen? And it's like, well, there was enough around. It just kept building. Hey, I'm still here. Could you please just do that thing? It goes, because it makes its own version of those fields. Okay, they're going to be there regardless, but they're not very significant. And so once energy gets imparted as it falls down like raindrops from a higher dimension, it then creates more and more of that drag, resistance, pressure, and weight, and you get your tiny little itty bitty singular, infinitely dense and powerful point. Even though it's like, I'm still reigning in you. And to our perspective, this is huge. What are you doing? What? Infinite? I guess from your weird ass place, sure. relative perspective. It's a thing, I guess. It's real, yeah, sure, or whatever, right? But that's all that is. That's quantum pressure. Okay, but it's not really. It's quantum resistance, but it's not just resistance, it's pull. It's not just any of that. It's acting as if it has mass. It's wanting to not return to the nothingness. Empty, no potential, no nothing. That's all that is. It's how we deal with society, too, if you must know. But what that means is it's a very strong, bound together, fundamental force, little ball. But it took a long time for it to drag itself in and collapse into this point and crush, 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 gain, 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 more, more, more. But there's a reflective outward bound because it's like, it doesn't matter. Remember, you're thinking about it incorrectly. You're thinking about it towards the planet. You got to remember that this is everywhere all at once, and it's dragging towards itself, collapsing towards a point as it goes and bangs the sheet of fabric of reality. But it's not just anything, because remember, that gray hole pops it in, and it's everywhere it can be, really. And so, like, some of it does fall through. I mean, it's going to have that. But then others collapse into this fine little nest egg, so to speak. Then it still has that, still filtering. So it's like, some of it's going more, 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 more. But that is where you, the person that came from the egg, wouldn't understand the outside, as it's past our observable universe. So it's like, boom, as it expands. And then it's like, hey, I am a boundary layer of a pressure wave. Guess what I can do? Compression, ignition, filtration, and more. It's detonation. And I kill everything. I combined, I added in inward pressure waves, quantum vacuum pressures, and more cool stuff, bro. So that's what we are. And when you describe now that inward bound pressure, okay, the nothingness, when you describe a planet or a star, it of course is now a field, that weighted field, oscillated harmonic frequency. It's basically the same descriptor that we have for an electron orbiting in a cloud of the nucleus. Now, as it goes around, it swings up. Now we have potential to kinetic. That, yeah, I can actually go away from you. Zoom, zoom, big ol' whoops start happening. Because it, for a brief period of time, happens to form more of a line in its orbit. From this to whoop, that kind of a thing. And it's a spring, sends it off, yanks it. Because basically that's how the pressure thing tends to work. I have pressure holding me here, and I kind of want to go that way. Hey, Dad, can I go over here? Anyways, and then you get pulled with it. And so potential energy, which is kinetic energy, which is really just not even electromagnetic. We're talking about, truthfully, the nothingness pressure energy. It's all pressures, man. It's fields and pressures, and resistive through the atmosphere of those fields. Okay? Now, as it comes in, what do the things do when it's that much mass? Because it's not mass, it's weight, really. I mean, it's an outward, inward, and they're all kind of outward, inward. And because it's a more than three-dimensional aspect to them, you're thinking about it on a flat plane instead of a 3D boy. And so then you get up to the size of a planet, and you go, oh, okay. Wait a second, that's really affecting. And it's like, got so much extra energy here to fuck. Oh my god, yank. Oh, you thought I was not gonna stick to you? Bitch. And it's basically what that kind of seems like, because it's like, oh, I have so much now that I'm able to rip and rend and tear away from that inward bound pressure that is containing itself here. And so it goes off and it flings, and now you have your kinetic. Instead of potential, you gained kinetic. But you still have resistive as it went through. You still have the interaction of the fields, and you still have the transfer of conversion of energies that radiate outward. And that is why it's a combo. It bridges that gap of quantum physics and field theory to astrophysics in their theories. Alrighty.